Hello everyone, welcome to yet another episode of our Polity Quick Revision series. So in this video, we'll talk about the Panchayati Raj system, the Panchayati Raj institutions or PRIs. So here we'll take a look at the Act itself, which is a significant landmark, if you see, in the evolution of the grassroots level democratic institutions in our country. Okay, and that is the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992. And we'll also take a look at the salient features of this particular act. So without any further delay, let's get started.
Duration of panchayats. The act provides for a 5-year term. So what is the term? It is 5 years. Okay, so it can be dissolved before the completion of its term, just like any other body that we've seen so far. But these fresh elections to constitute a panchayat shall be completed before the expiry of those 5 years. Okay, and if it is dissolved, okay, so it has been there is a dissolution of that entire body, then within the expiry of a period of 6 months from the date of dissolution, you've got to have another election. So let us say that I've been we elected a body and there has been some swindling and some sort of issues that it actually got dissolved. Okay, lack of confidence, something it got dissolved. Now let's say this has happened at 2.5 years, so you still have a term of 2.5 years. Just focus on this example that I'm making. Okay, I'm saying this for a reason. So we have a total of 5 years. Okay, this is when election. Okay, and this is when dissolution happened. Dissolution happens at 2.5 years. Now what happens is that and this is your 5 years, second election. This is supposed to be, let's say there is it gets dissolved at 2.5 years. At what point, by which point do we have to have another election? It has to be within 3 years. And the reason is, if it is dissolved, okay, you've got to have it after or within a period of 6 years from the date of its dissolution. Now, just keep this in mind. Now, let us say it got dissolved and then, within 3 years, you've actually got an election done again. Now, the period of that election, interestingly, and I think this was a UPSC question because I got this wrong, I believe. Okay, and I think it was a UPSC question. I got this wrong, and I remember this thing sort of irritating me for quite some time because it is actually there in Laxmikanth, but I missed this. So, there are many ways of preparing for prelims, right? And many ways of attempting questions. There are some who will always go for 100 attempts. Okay, anything more than 70, that means 70 right, 30 wrong, still means you've got a 120 score. Okay, that is excellent sort of a score. Okay, 120 score is excellent sort of a score. Now you can go like this, but generally my strategy, I have lesser attempts, but my strike rate is much higher. So, when I get like 1 or 2 wrong, that sort of, I wouldn't say irritates me, but that is something that I will remember. Generally, I will have single digit sort of wrongs. Okay, now that is my strength. Okay, now you guys, depending upon your risk appetite and depending upon your preparation levels, you will have your own sort of numbers. Okay, I cannot answer what is the right number of attempts for you. Okay, if you believe that this is possible. Okay, this is quite easy if you want to do this, depending upon your preparation levels. So it's not bad. So in that one thing, in polity, I made a mistake in something related to this. I did not know this. In the dissolution of a panchayat, okay, at let's say 2.5 years, election got done at 3 years. 3 to 5 years is all it will last. So that means it is only so the second body is only for 2 years. Okay, and I don't know how come, but I never came across that. Okay, I never came across that. Maybe my Laxmikanth, my old edition did not have it. Okay, but I generally remember if I make a mistake. So sometimes these small sentences, you might read it, you might revise it, but there are some things that you might sort of miss. So keep that in mind. Is that clear? So it is not from the date of dissolution. After that, you'll have an election. It does not mean that that body is going to last you 5 years. It is going to be for the remainder of the term only. Is that clear? Hope that is clear. Okay, now again, you will see some topics. What about the disqualification? Right, under the law, for the time being in force for the purpose of elections to the legislature of the state concerned. So it depends on the laws that are present and under any law by the state legislature that is made. Now see, in order for you to contest elections, 21, okay, and in order for you to participate, it is 18. Now there are some bodies that you want to. So then just go through each of these things and see what you want to sort of internalize from this. Right, for instance, State Election Commission, we've already talked about this. The superintendent's direction and control of the preparation of electoral rolls and the conduct of all elections to the panchayats shall be vested in the state election commissions. Now, if I change this panchayats to, let us say, assembly or to the central, whatever Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, those kinds of things, then that will be vested in the Central Election Commission. Okay, so so things of that nature. The state legislature may make provision with respect to all matters relating to elections to the panchayats. Okay, so the state legislature may make provisions with matters, but the sort of main body that is going to be in charge of ensuring that the election being conducted is going to be free and fair. Can you tell me what do you mean by free and fair elections? And why do we need a state election commission for doing that?
It means no interference from a political party.
No interference from a political party. Okay. But political parties are the ones competing, right? Who are we electing political parties? And why can we call them free and fair? Yeah, go ahead.
We are democratic countries, sir. So free and fair election is a basic aspect of democracy.
Okay, and so when you say free and fair elections are like a sine qua non of any sort of a good democracy, what do you mean by free and fair election?
Everybody should get opportunity to contest.
Okay.
Like one vote, one value.
One vote, one value. Okay, so that is fine. But tomorrow, so in India, we say that we have free and fair elections, right? And primarily the body, in fact, I'm not going to elaborate on this, whether India is really truly free and fair. Okay, how is it in Jammu Kashmir? Or do we believe that, it's only for the people who have a lot of money or, they have a lot of, something, star power, something like this? Is it for them, or is like everybody sort of, having an equal chance, right? Doesn't matter. But the point is free and fair elections are a necessity. And the one that is ensuring that it is free and fair is the State Election Commission. For instance, in many places, you will notice, if you are in power, if you're the government in power, it becomes easy for you to sort of control the administrative machinery or whatever sort of machinery to ensure that the other parties who are trying to sort of topple you to come to power have a lesser chance of coming to power or no chance of coming to power. Okay, you have a complete control, but the Election Commission ensures that whether you're in power or you're not in power, it does not matter. Okay, all of you guys are going to be considered equal, and they will try to sort of level the playing field for every single party, whether you're a very big party, okay, national sort of a party, whether you're a state party or you're an up, in your local elections or even in your state elections, you will have, have you guys gone to vote before? Have you been to that election booth, and then you'll have that ballot where you have to press? Have you guys done this before?
Yes, sir, once.
You've done this, right? So even if it is, let's say you're from Karnataka, you would probably see JDS and your Congress and your BJP. But apart from that, you will still see 8, 9 other sort of parties in that ballot. Do you remember this? Did you face this? In the news media, you'll probably not see all of them because probably they don't have that big of a chance to sort of contest. But the elections being free and fair, let us say I am sort of, discontent with the kind of way the national politics is. I still have an opportunity to sort of form my own or sort of give my support to somebody else I feel, is going to do a good job. So it does not mean the bigger parties will have some sort of a much bigger sort of a advantage in these elections. That is your free and fair. So Election Commission comes in this particular part, and they are sort of that's why they're very sort of important. If an Election Commission is sort of biased, or and sometimes this sort of allegation also crops up, you will see this in news during election season. It was there during this 2021 elections just before the lockdown, in Bengal and certain other things in which they had like such an extended, 6-phase, 8-phase, whatever kind of an election. Okay, now what are the powers? The state legislature may, sort of give powers to the panchayat depending upon what is necessary. Okay, they're in charge of 2 things basically. Okay, first thing is just read this A and B. Just go through this. There are 29 matters that are given in 11th schedule. I'll show you what they are. But essentially, it is preparation of plans for economic and development and social justice, and then implementation of schemes for the same. Economic development and social justice. So their job, those 29 matters are going to be about economic development, okay, and social justice. Social justice is something, again, I think we talked about this last night. Okay, we had a nice lively discussion towards the end of the class. Okay, and iske liye preparation and also the implementation. Okay, this is the major powers and functions. Okay, very, very important chapter even from mains perspective. Now again, finances. Finance के लिए state legislature may authorize, okay, these are the things that you can levy, these are the kind of taxes you can collect, all of that, okay? And assign to the panchayat, certain, okay, these are the kind of taxes that are there, right? So this, even if we are collecting this thing, this sort of amount is going to go into your pocket. Okay, similarly, what are the grants in aid that can be made to the panchayats by the state? Similarly, you have the Finance Commission. The Finance Commission is again another independent body, and it takes a look at what are the principles that should govern what is the Finance Commission going to govern? Lays down the principles, okay, that govern the distribution of the net proceeds of taxes. If we are talking about the Central Finance Commission, then it is between the center and the states. If you're talking about the State Finance Commission, then it is, with regard to how do you divide them between the state and the panchayats. Okay, and the determination of certain taxes and all of these things that should be given to the panchayat, the grants in aid. And apart from that, point number 2 and point number 3 are a little more general. What are the measures that need to be taken in order to improve the financial position? Okay, any other matter that is sort of recommended by the governor? Okay, so things of that nature. Okay, but however, the state legislature, they have to decide what should be the composition of the Finance Commission. Okay, what should be the qualification, all of that. Now, again, when you sort of create these new bodies at the village level, intermediate level, district levels, we want to ensure that the funds going to this level are still used wisely. How do we ensure that the money that is used or the funds that are sort of spent are used wisely? You've got to have audit. Okay, if you say that I have sort of spent so and so money in some sort of scholarships or something, or so much money has been used for making the roads here or to build a pond here, okay, or to whatever it is, how do we ensure that you have auditing of accounts? And apart from that, also you have something called social audit. What is social audit? Social audit sort of involves you and me. Okay, so let us say I am the beneficiary of this thing. I will basically tell you that, hey, the process seems like I'm supposed to get these things, I'm not getting them. Okay, or let us say it is like some midday meal scheme or any sort of a thing that you can think of. The people who are part of the Gram Sabha, the local people are going to go and try to audit and see whether what is being put on these reports and papers are actually being delivered. Is it really there at the grassroots? Okay, so that is your social audit. So through all of these things, we can have some sort of a accountability on that. Now, what is 11th schedule? And what are these 29 sort of functional items that are present here? Now, again, there are so many of these items, you may not remember them, but just take a look at the nature of these sort of activities that govern, the measures that we talked about for two things, right? Economic development and ensuring social justice, clean drinking water, rural housing, minor forest produce, especially for the STs. Okay, can you give me an example of minor forest produce? So let's say in the forest, you can go and try to pick up, firewood or something. Or if you can think of it as, honey, right? Honey from the forest or something like that. Now that can be your minor forest produce. Fisheries and animal husbandry. Okay, fisheries and animal husbandry. So who's in charge of these things? It is the panchayat. Okay, it is the panchayat. Okay. Have you experienced any of these things? Have you seen any of these things being done or any officers here? So that will give you a very good sort of perspective. For instance, when it comes to animal husbandry, so one of my very good friends, his mother is the joint director of that department of animal husbandry. Okay, and they have these constant meetings, and I try to follow up on what is happening. It's sort of interesting to me. Okay, how do they go about doing this? So let's say that they come out with these grand plans that we're going to increase the production by 40%. What exactly do you do? Right, so things of that nature. And similarly, so these things make it interesting for me, and it makes it easier for me to learn and understand also fisheries. So for instance, I have a small restaurant that I run. Okay, I started it a couple of years ago. Okay, so again, it's very difficult to run a business, right, in India. So I had to get all these clearances and whatnot. But then it is this old home of this old architecture where in the middle of the home you have some sort of a pit, right? And then you have I don't know what it's called here. It's called Titte Vida or something like that in Karnataka. I'm not sure what do you call it. Okay, Nalikette Vida. So whatever it is, okay, so something like that. So in that I've converted it to a pool. So in that pool, we raise fish. Okay, so I went to the fisheries department, got I just wanted to find out how exactly things are. So apart from your Japanese koi and these sort of ornamental fish, we have tilapia, you have your rohu, ketla, they're called Indian carp. Okay, this Malaysian wala, or it's also called Pangus Swiss. Very, very interesting sort of things. Okay, and so these things are all coming under your panchayat. Again, just to give you an example on how it works. So I went and asked them, am I eligible for some sort of subsidies? And then they told me that no, you're not eligible for it because the pool. So for instance, so mine is 16 meters square or something like this. Okay, 16 meters square, as in it's inside the home, right? So basically the setup is this is the pool. Okay, and the pool is around, let's say the whole place is 5 meters. 5 meters by 5 meters by 5 meters by 5 meters, and I have my plants and certain other things that are given here, and this is my pool. Okay, and then I have like tables here. Let's say tables and chairs, tables and chairs, tables and chairs, tables and chairs, tables and chairs. There'll be like some fancy lighting, whatnot. Okay, and here you have your fish, right? Oh God, does it look like a fish? I hope so. Okay, and so when you go there and then you ask them, so they told me that if it is, how much was it? 40 meters squared. So generally these are in farms. Okay, if you have something like this, then you're eligible for more subsidies. But the subsidy is that, so for instance, I keep sort of, what we do is that you get 1 rupee ke liye one fish, 2 rupees for some other fish, 3 rupees for some. Pangus Swiss, I think, was like some 5 rupees. So it's like very cheap. So this is subsidized sort of production. If it's tilapia, depending upon where you get it from, it could be 6 rupees. That's it. So you can buy large quantities, and then on every other Saturday we have the system in which our loyal customers can ask us, okay, I want this particular fish from your your own pool. So we go ahead and sort of we make a dish out of it and then we serve it. So it's an idea that a lot of people really like. Okay, it's new and it's sort of interesting. It's sort of kids like it too as well. So something like this. So that for that particular example, this is about the fisheries. Now fisheries. Now imagine like you're not a small time player like me who has a restaurant. This is like some attraction kind of a thing, right? For the customers, you can be a big exporter. Okay, you could be like some sort of a big turnover kind of a person. So aquaculture, maritime aquaculture, then you can have some what do you call that? Maritime aquaculture and freshwater aquaculture. Freshwater aquaculture is called something else. I forget the name. Okay, so things like that. Similarly, let us say minor irrigation, water management, watershed development. All of these things come under your panchayat. So now in 1992 ke baad, we have so many different aspects. Okay, so many different sort of aspects where the panchayats, the local leaders that we're going to elect at the local levels, like members like your Arya Rajendran that we just saw, right? They have so many actual functions that they have to deliver on, right? Which is so cool. Okay, it is not just some sort of a sometimes you have college college my student government will be there, right? Now depending upon what kind of university you are, maybe they really have a big sort of a role, or sometimes it is just that you sort of have some fests that you guys organize and all of that, right? I don't know if did you guys have like college fest or student government in your university, right? Now let us say that you have a big role. Okay, you're given a lot of funds. Okay, and you also have a voice when it comes to the management of the institute. Then you can say that, okay, it is like truly sort of empowered kind of a body. Or if it is only about, let's say that you're given some small responsibilities, then that's not that great. But panchayat mein, they are truly empowered. Poverty alleviation program, it really depends on these 3 sort of tiers to sort of deliver on that. How cool is that? Amazing. Right? Family welfare activities, women and child development, right? Your ICDs, and so many things that come under these things, right? The welfare of the physically challenged and mentally retarded, right? Handicapped is a term that, I don't know if it is still valid. Okay, it was not politically correct. We cannot use that term, at least when I was in the US. In that university, there are certain things that you just don't say. Okay, so for instance, you do not say blind, you say visually challenged. Okay, mentally retarded is again, retarded is also another term that I don't know. I mean, it's not politically correct in my opinion. Okay, but be that as it may, so public distribution system, welfare of the weaker sections, things of that nature. Okay, things of that nature. Right? Even this is not a concept that political correctness also matters, right? For instance, they used to have something called Divyang. Are you guys aware of this? Divyang? What does Divyang mean? So Divyang persons are people who have their disabilities. People with disabilities are called Divyang. Okay, now again, that there is some criticism about this term. It means that, okay, God's children or something like this, or, the disabilities are given by God. Okay, which sort of sends the wrong sort of a message. So something along those lines. Okay, so terms. But anyways, a lot of responsibilities given to the panchayat. Okay, so that is your panchayat chapter. So do you understand what to take away from this chapter? How to study it? What to memorize? Now, keep Panchayat Raj aside. Your municipality chapter is also the exact same with the exact same sort of headings. However, there is one thing that you want to go through. Okay, there is one thing that you want to go through. That is, they talk about certain different types of bodies that are present. So I'll just give you the names of this. Can you open that chapter, municipalities chapter? I think it will be called as urban local governments in your book. And do you see types of urban governments? Do you see this? Municipal, corporation, okay, municipality, notified area committee. Are you guys able to see this? Cantonment board, township, port trust, and an SPA, special purpose agency. Just go through these extra as well. Okay, so how exactly does it work, and who sort of runs it, and whether it is democratic or is it like sort of elected bodies, is it appointed bodies, what are their roles? Okay, just be aware. So, and they're not that difficult. Okay, so what is a municipal corporation? What is a municipality? Municipal corporation generally for bigger cities, and then you also will see that there are municipalities which are relatively smaller districts. Okay, not smaller districts. I mean, they might be big districts of 30-40 lakhs of people, but they've not been sort of promoted to a municipal corporation. Okay,